Hello and welcome to the program. Since the beginning of the war in eastern Ukraine, the defense sector have been going under major changes, and taking veterans in charge have become a major issue in the Ukrainian society. The Cateran Yomp 2018 charity aims to raise awareness on this issue as well as helping veterans in need of help. Joining us in our studio today to explain on this topic is retired Major General Volodymyr Havrylov, curator of the Cateran Yomp 18 project. Hello and thank you for joining us.
Hello, nice to meet you.
So, the operation Cateran Yomp aims to help veterans. Can you tell us more about this charity project?
We have two projects with the same partners in the United States, Allied Forces Foundation. The foundation was created by US and UK veterans just to support wounded warriors through different sport events or active life. So we are participants of two of the projects. One is a Marine Corps Marathon in Washington, D.C., which will start in the end of this October, and our team will be there. And the second one is a Cateran Yomp cross-terrain hiking, let it be so. It's for also a team of wounded soldiers in Scotland with a distance of up to 84 kilometers with 24 hours only just for that march. So this year we first time took part in that event in June in Scotland. In Washington, D.C., it will be for the third time. Our 10 guys will go there for Marine Corps Marathon. And it's important that we select people from the most wounded warriors, especially amputees or those who lost their sight. This year, for example, the team to United States includes two guys who lost their sight, and they will run together with a guide. And one is maybe with a dog as well. Mm-hmm. It's the first time in the history of MCM marathon. And we are going to announce the selection of our team for Cateran Yomp somewhere in January, because it's a very particular, very specific project, because they require some knowledge of the English language for participants. Because the idea of rehabilitation for that kind of activities is not only to run or walk, it's just to communicate with other teams and countries who will take part in that. And in Scotland, for example, we will see up to 11 countries presented with a team of wounded warriors. United States, Canada, Britain, New Zealand, Australia, and other exotic countries. And Ukraine is among them. And that's important that last Sunday, 2 days ago, we just started our project, national project, similar to Marine Corps Marathon. We called it Veteran Dozen. It's a 10K run within the Kyiv City Marathon. And we invited for this inauguration our partners and the team of United States wounded warriors who were wounded in Afghanistan and Iraq, and also a team from Poland. They took part together with us. We run together, we enjoy our cultural program together, and yesterday we visited our military rehabilitation center near the Kyiv, and they talked to our amputees, wounded warriors who lost their limbs. And they encouraged them, and they've got a very warm receive from those guys. So it's important Ukraine to be integrated in that international efforts of bringing people back to normal life.
Because I'm thinking also the Invictus Game also ongoing. Is it something that goes in parallel of the Invictus Game? Is it something different? Is it like the same kind of ideas behind it?
Invictus Game is one of the projects. It's specific. Maybe it's more supported by state funds or something else. The projects which I mentioned, they are more non-NGO projects and volunteer projects. But nevertheless, our guys who took part in Marine Corps Marathon in 2017, for example, they took part as well in Invictus Games in 2017 as well. And this year, some of them also will take part in Invictus Games in Australia in 2 weeks. Among them, not as a participant, but as an official or support team, we'll see Vadim Sviridenko. He's an authorized representative of the President of Ukraine on rehabilitation of wounded warriors. And he took part in first Marine Corps Marathon in 2016 with no legs, no arms, on only prosthetics. He just ran 10K, and he was the best in his category. So yeah, I'm very proud that that kind of guy is now just in charge of coordination of government efforts and agency efforts and volunteer efforts on the project. And we worked together very hard on this Veteran Dozen project, and I am very glad that we succeeded.
Now, these are top-of-the-notch athletes. Even amputees, but like they are top of the notch athletes. How do that kind of program help to open other rehabilitation centers for other soldier wounded who don't necessarily have the occasion or the opportunity to participate into this, either way, Invictus Games or CateranYomp, or like that kind of charity to the, I wouldn't say ordinary, but the veterans that are coming back now from Eastern Ukraine.
Just to remind, we have more than 10,000 wounded, 500 amputees, and huge number of soldiers who took part in operations in East, and they suffer so-called post-traumatic
stress
disorder, PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
It's a challenge for any military who took part in any kind of combat activities. It means they have some problems with mental stability. It's not a disease, it's just a symptom which needs to be treated properly. And we have a lot of them. Of course, we can't guarantee that the sport is a good key for everybody. Not everybody is ready to do something in sport, for example, because of some physical problem or others. But there are other activities, not only in sport, but for example, in next or this week we will see dancing competition for veterans. And so they will dance with girls, of course, and they are training on that. So they like dancing, why not? But they do it, and it's part of their rehabilitation. There are other projects, for example, to assist our emergency services with some small teams of warriors, former warriors, who are ready to support others, and through that effort they rehabilitate themselves. But it's important to create an information field, platform in the country for everybody in small villages or in towns. They have to choose what's the best to their heart and to their mind to take from the possible ways of rehabilitation. If you are good in sport, you can do it through sport, through marathon or swimming or like that. If you're good in arts, you can do it through painting or like that. But we have to reach everybody who took part in ATO. We have to talk to everybody about their problems, and we have to encourage them not to be close with the problems and just to discuss and to find a way. But first of all, we have to present them with the best examples. We have to present them with the people who, for example, two soldiers 2 days ago, they ran 10K race. They are blind. They lost their sight and they ran 10K. And one of them amputee, so he has no eyes and he has no one leg, but he ran 10K on prosthetic, and he is running 10K in Washington, D.C. in 2 weeks with our team in marathon.
That's to give them hope, basically.
It's not that only the hope, it's a light in the end of the tunnel. He is very encouraged. He started to live active life. And his example, or people like him, is the best to others who have legs, arms. They have no injuries. Yes, they have maybe PTSD, but nevertheless, they see if those guys who have problems, physical problems, they can do. Why? They, with all physical body in place, can't do that. So we have to promote that kind of effort, that kind of active life. What kind of life? It's up to everybody to choose.
Now, isn't there a risk that these organizations, these charity causes, the MCM as well as Invictus Games, then there a risk that the Ukrainian government can be like, okay, so this guy are taking care of that, so we might as well not open other rehabilitation center or thing like that, like leave the whole weight and responsibility of taking care of these veterans to the organizations like that, and how to avoid this risk.
Rehabilitation of wounded warriors is a national mission. It means that the government, for example, they have to provide resources, accounting, and the registration of those who need that kind of rehabilitation. And they have to provide infrastructure. The energy, the methods, enthusiasm, they have to come from the civil society, from people who really want to do it. There are no bureaucrats in the world who are very keen of spending their energy on invalids or handicapped or wounded. Only people with deep heart can do it. And there are a lot of them in civil society, and they can do it in the right way. But they need also assistance in resources, infrastructure. They have to understand how many those guys are, and there they are, and what is the level of the problem. And that is responsibility of the government. So it's bilateral, mutual effort. So both sides have to work together. It's a partnership, it's a civil, private-public partnership, so-called. I would place on the first place civil society. The enthusiasm, activity and energy of civil society, they have first of all to assist with rehabilitation, and second to press the government and politicians to do their job.
Well, thank you for this message. It was a pleasure to have you in the studio today.
Well, pleasure to see you too.
That was retired Major General Volodymyr Havrylov talking about the Cateran Yomp 18 project. Thank you for watching the program and stay tuned for the rest.